Good afternoon, and thank you so much for being here with us tonight as we continue our Be Present with Superintendent Wright series. And this is our virtual time tonight to have dialogue, to talk a little bit about where we are as a district, and then to answer questions if we have those from those that are viewing tonight. So we're going to jump right in and get started with our next slide. So as you know, my name is Ironetta Wright, and I am superintendent here at Cincinnati Public Schools. And December the 2nd was the beginning of my 7th month on the job. If you've not had an opportunity to do so, please make sure that you take a look at the 100-day journey. It gives a lot of information about how we begin our initial engagement, how we began to look at it interacting and moving into the community, getting feedback, and then charting the course forward as we begin to work to the next steps for our overall school district. Next slide. For those that have worked with us for a period of time, or you've heard me talk prior to now, you know that as a district, we started with a focus around getting back to the basics. And this was really after that period of time, that 3-month, 100-day period of engaging with the community. Personally, I met with about 4,000 people during that time and was able to get feedback from them on what's going well in the district, what's not going well. And if you were me, what would you do first? What do you think that is really important in the work that we're doing, and how do we move forward? And so that took us back to the basics, and nothing is more basic than thinking about the ABCs. And the focus of the ABCs has been academics, behavior, and culture. And the next that we really talked about as we looked at where we were going next as a district and how really we were going to continue to work collectively with the greater community in the work that we're doing for the students is we launched the Be Present initiative. And the Be Present initiative truly is a call to action for everyone that is a part of Cincinnati. Whatever your present is, that's what we want you to do. So if you are a parent, we want you to be present by making sure that your children are in school every day, that you are working with them to ensure that they have a safe place, a quiet place at home to work on their homework when they have homework, that you're checking the backpacks before they come to school. If you're a teacher, we know that our faculty and staff, they are present daily, but we want you to take the commitment. You're already showing up every day, and so we want you to show what it means to be present. If you're a community partner and you say, you know, I'm really not interested in volunteering at the school site, or I'm not interested in doing any of those other things, you can walk out to the mailbox in the morning as students are moving about and going to school, and just encourage them to have a great day. So whatever your present is, we want you to be able to do that. There is a QR code. Be Present is everywhere on our district's website, so you can find it all over the place. But there is a QR code. If you actually scan, take your camera and put it over the QR code, it will take you to our link, which allows you to sign up to say that you're present in your support of Cincinnati Public Schools. And in our active in the Cincinnati community. So we have launched 2 Be Present initiatives. Our 2 initiatives are CPS Moves and Read to Lead. When we think about CPS Move, we're thinking about movement. We're thinking about healthy lifestyles and encouraging healthy lifestyles with our students, as well as with our parents and with all of our staff members. So we want to make sure that whatever it is that we're doing, we're incorporating movement into that. And so CPS Moves was the first thing that we launched. We do have a different focus each month in terms of CPS Moves, and schools are involved in activities at their school site that support CPS Moves. So if there's one thing that you could do to support CPS Moves, that's move. I say at least 15 minutes a day doing some kind of active movement. We support students during recess. We support them doing brain breaks. It is important that we get and keep our students moving. And Read to Lead. And I'm sure that many of you, just like I have heard the phrase, readers are leaders. And we really want to work with our children to make sure that they become the leaders that we know that they can be. And one way that we do that is through reading. And so for our younger grade levels, it's really going into a classroom, just simply reading a book to our students in classes. For our older grade levels, it's working with students as they are moving to reading proficiency or as they are looking at enrichment activities around reading. So those are our two. So you can definitely go online and sign up to be a Be Present volunteer and show interest in the Read to Lead program as well. So one of the hot topics for the district has been transportation. I tell you, there is nothing that has kept me up more nights since I've been the superintendent in Cincinnati Public Schools than transportation. It's been a challenge because it's not one of those things that, as a person that believes in operating in excellence, it's not one of those things that I have been able to quickly turn around. We do give consistent updates on transportation on our website. It is important that those that are watching, you do engage and interact with our website. It is important to me that we know how we got to where we are and also what we have done and what we are doing to continue working through those challenges. We know, I think most people know this, that we are dealing with a national bus driver shortage. We work with four busing contractors, three of them for yellow bus service, and we work with Metro for our 9th through 12th grade students. There have been several changes from last year that really have helped to increase the number of yellow buses that we need. And so we're trying to work through that process as well. So to further provide some insight, we are doing community roundtables in January and February. We have 4 different sessions that we're doing 4 community roundtables. And through these roundtables, it will be an opportunity to really look at the challenges that we have right now, how we got to those challenges, but more importantly, recommendations that we have for improvement. How would you feel about X? What do you think about Y? So we do want to make sure that those transportation conversations are really problem-solving sessions and recommendations moving forward. All of our 9th through 12th grade students should have already received their Metro passes. So any student that does not have a permanent printed Metro pass with their name on it should contact the school office for assistance. At this point, all of those passes have been provided. So please interact at your school to make sure that our students are getting their passes, because once they are given the pass, if the pass is lost, they will have to pay to replace it. So we do want to make sure that they get the pass and hold on to it so they're not looking at replacing it. And lastly, we have 7th and 8th grade students that have gone back to Metro this year, and it's proven to be a viable option for them. If there are parents that have 7th and 8th grade students that are still considering Metro, we are offering through Metro. Metro is offering free ride-alongs on Thursday and Friday of this week. All the parent has to do, or all a parent has to do, is identify themselves as a CPS parent, and they will be able to ride along with their child. Okay, so a few things that are on the CPS radar, just so that you are aware of a few things that are up and coming. Our Magnet and High School Lottery opened today, and it's now open through March. I thought it was the 10th, but it looks like it's March the 20th on this slide. CPS we've launched our climate survey to gather more comprehensive feedback from our staff, our students, and our families. It only takes a few minutes to complete the survey, and it does close on December 16th. We're really proud of the fact that this is the first year that we're also surveying students. So we're surveying 3rd through 12th grade students as a part of this feedback cycle. I will be hosting a Be Present State of the Schools address on the 13th, Tuesday, the 13th of December, from 6 to 7:30 at Woodward High School. During that time, I will provide an overview of key priorities, really to help us improve student outcomes as we focus on and continue to focus on academics, behavior, and culture. Project Connect is also hosting a winter coat drive to benefit our CPS students that are in need. Project Connect offers support to our students that are experiencing housing insecurity, and so we want to make sure that they have warm coats for the winter months. So donations can be made at 2120 Vine Street. And last but not least, our winter recess begins December the 19th, and our students return to school on January the 3rd. All right, so we're about 15 minutes into the time that we have together. We designated an hour for us to work together. Not sure if it will take the entire hour. However, we want to make sure that we answer your questions. So this is the time that we'll move into questions and answers, and I will turn it over to the moderator at this time so that we can start our Q&A period.
Thank you, Superintendent Wright. First question is in relationship to the swatting instances. So what actions is CPS taking to reduce the number of swatting instances in the school district, and are students seeing any kind of punishment?
Thank you for the question. So I think that the first thing we're doing is really trying to make sure that parents and caregivers and students are aware of what swatting is and the possible repercussions of students engaging in those swatting instances. So essentially, swatting is when a threat is called in to get law enforcement to respond or to do some other kind of activity that would cause students to not be in school or in class during that time. Unfortunately, we've had several of those in the district, as we know that we had throughout the country. Just last week alone, because of swatting activity or because of making a threat, whether it was a founded or a viable threat or not, after doing research, we actually report every one of those threats to the Cincinnati Police Department. Unfortunately, we had 3 or 4 students that were arrested last week. And so I really think it's important. We're sending information out to families. We're getting ready to do an update again. I did a reminder last night during our board meeting, but it's really important that our students understand that for some, they're taking it as a game, but it really does send fear through many parents and to students when they hear that there's going to be violence at the school. So we've not had violence that's actually occurred, but it is a very uncomfortable place for students, families, and staff to be. So we do follow up not only with CPD, but we also honor the code of conduct. And in most of these instances, students are not just suspended, they're also recommended for expulsion.
Okay. The next one's kind of a two-parter, and it's on report cards. Are the district report cards a true indicator of student performance and success in the district? And what are we doing to improve our scores?
So we report card, individual student report cards, or the district report card for the state?
Yeah, ODE for the district.
Yeah, so thank you. So the report card is actually a compilation of a lot of information, and it really includes in each of those areas. It's based on how students respond, how they perform on the Ohio State Assessment, Ohio State test, or the end of course exam for Ohio. There are 5 different areas that are looked at right now. The 6th area would come into place in the coming year. But in those areas, it's really how students perform. The percentage of students that show proficiency, which is considered at a level 3 or higher. The percentage of students that show progress, which means their overall performance improved over the previous year. The percentage of students that show gap closing, which means that they've shown improvement from where they performed previously to being on grade level. Early literacy is the other component and how students perform in the early literacy component. And last but not least is graduation rate. So it's taking all of the assessments that students are involved in at each of the grade levels and taking that information from those assessments.
Okay. This next one, you kind of answered it, but maybe just give some more clarification. My son rides the Metro and lost his pass. He said the school's not giving him daily passes or free daily passes anymore. What do I do about getting him a new pass?
Correct. So you do want to share with the school, if I'm understanding the question correctly, your child had a pass, that he was provided a pass, and he lost his pass. So there is a fee to replace the lost pass. The fee is $10, and it takes about 5 days to get the pass back.
Okay. Here's another one. I'd love to be a Read to Lead volunteer. Cool. Is there any kind of registration or process I need to complete?
Well, first of all, thank you for your willingness to be a volunteer. If you go on our district's website, all of the information is there for how you sign up to volunteer. It does include background screens and background checks and fingerprinting. And so it's important that you go online on our website, go to our Be Present initiative, and from there it will take you to our volunteer information. You can sign up right there. Our team will contact you as well so that we can get those the setup scheduled for you so that you're able to move in the beginning of the year into becoming a Read to Lead volunteer. Thank you for your willingness to do so.
This one says there's a lot, like, because it's more about transportation, and it asks, has there been any improvement in transportation since the school year? And then the next is, what do you think it'll look like next year?
Okay, thank you. So, excuse me. So the first, in terms of, so there has been some improvement in transportation since the beginning of the school year, and it's just not, it's not currently meeting our level of expectation, but there has been improvement. So our on-time performance has improved from 35% on the first day of school to about 85%. We vacillate between 80 and 85% in terms of on-time performance, and this is for our yellow buses. For Metro, on-time performance, 5 minutes before school is right around 97, 98%. And for 10 minutes before school, it's 89%. So Metro, as I shared, has not been the challenge for us. It really has been our yellow bus service. One of the reasons for that is many of our bus contractors help address the driver shortage. We are at the beginning of the school year, we needed 40 additional drivers. We now need about 20 additional, still need about 20 additional drivers. So to give us support at the school level, many of our bus contractors have drivers that are stacking routes. So essentially after they do one route, they drop that route off, they go back and get another route to go back to the same school. And it causes some challenges. So we have seen improvements. We continue to look at improvements. We are doing quite a bit in terms of making sure that we're cross-referencing all of the concerns that we've had from this year. We also, one of the greatest challenges was that our 7th and 8th grade students were put back on the yellow buses, but it was also at a time where there was a national shortage. And so we're trying to work through national shortage of drivers. So trying to continue to work through that. What it will look like last year. So a couple things that we know that we will do going into next year is, one, we look at routing students much faster. So families are able to determine if they are going to stay on our yellow buses or they're looking for another way. The other thing, whether they're doing another direction in terms of another option. The other thing that's important is we route all students, whether they are riders of the yellow buses or not. And it will be important for us to work with families this year to make sure that we are sure the students that are being routed are the students that need transportation. This year alone, we routed and rerouted 4,700 students. And so that becomes time and manpower to do that. And it also gives a false positive in terms of the number of students that are actually on buses or not. So that would be another area. I think the third is we're really eager to hear the kind of recommendations and resolutions that come up as a part of the roundtables. There's a lot of things that we're thinking through and looking at how we may be able to do that and offer it in our district, but we're really interested to hear what parents actually have to say about recommendations that they have.
Okay. Next one is very topical about what's happening right now. I saw that a water main broke near Central Parkway. What will schools around the breakage? Will schools around the breakage be closed, or will you provide bottled water?
So right now, I know of at least 2 schools that are in the area where the water main break was, and we will provide bottled water for our students as well as bottled water for the cafeteria during that time. So we'll be sending that information out to families this afternoon so they will know that we will be providing bottled water for the students until it is safe for them to go back to the drinking water in the area.
And with the holidays coming up, what can our kids do over the holidays to stay active, or what suggestions is CPS going to recommend?
So there are a few different things I think that I would recommend. One would be for our pre-K students and some of the other grade levels, we will be releasing some winter packets on our website. So that would be one thing. I think the other is our students in our elementary schools have access to a program for math called iReady, and it gives students an opportunity to work on their individual levels. So it is both diagnostic and prescriptive. So that means that students have took the assessment in early August. It then creates a path for them to work through until they take the assessment again in late January. And so the activities that students do are specific to them. So all of our elementary school students have access to that. For our high school students, there are several technology programs that they're able to use their devices on over the break, continue to engage. I would always recommend reading a book, letting students kind of connect with what good books are out there and reading a book. And there's been a lot that's been happening for students. So just giving them some opportunity to take some mental health time and to enjoy their family and enjoy their friends. That's always a positive thing as well.
We're jumping back into transportation. I'm thinking about switching my child to yellow bus from to Metro from next year. Is it too late? Are there any fees for switching? And what's the ride along all about?
Awesome. So let me make sure I answer all of those questions. One, it is not too late. We just opened up the application for Metro for our seventh and eighth grade students for the second semester. So students will have until the 12th, I believe, is the 12th, right, Mr. Sherwood?
I apologize. Yeah, no, the 16th is the last day of school, so we were definitely trying to do it prior to that Friday before. So I
Okay, so students will have at least until the 15th
Yep.
to apply for their Metro, to apply to go to Metro so that we can have cards made for them. So that's the first. The ride along just gives parents an opportunity to ride the Metro. There are many parents or families that have said that they did not expect what they've gotten as they've gotten to Metro. And so Metro became an option for them when prior to that they weren't sure that it was an option. So this gives an opportunity for families, for parents to get on Metro with their child, for them to look at the route that they're going with their child and to see whether or not it's a more viable option for them as they're going to the bus. There is not a fee for students that are transitioning to Metro at this time. We cover the cost for that. However, students can't do both. So if a child is moved to Metro, then that means that they would be on Metro until the end of this school year. So it's not where they can ride Metro for one day and ride the yellow bus at another time. It would be that students it would be one or the other, and so students would ride Metro for the rest of the year if they sign up during this time.
Next one is I know there's a teacher shortage across the nation. What is CPS doing to combat the teacher shortage?
Yeah, so CPS has really done quite a bit in terms of making sure that we're continuing to let staff know and let teachers know that we are open and available. Just tonight, there is a student teacher recruitment fair. I think it's going on right now at Aiken, and that's for individuals that have gone through an internship, but they're interested in transitioning to the teacher of record. So I think that that's one. We're really beginning to have conversations around what are our retention strategies as well. So recruitment is one area, but how are we retaining our teachers, and how are we looking at our Grow Your Own program? So we do have a program that allows our paraprofessionals to go into the program to get their credentials to teach, so they also can become teachers of record. So we are really looking at it from a variety of spaces, because it will take all of those things in order for us to make sure that we have teachers in our classrooms in front of our children.
The next question is, what opportunities do I have as a parent to ensure my voice is heard?
Well, one thing that you can do as a parent right now to ensure that your voice is heard is take our climate survey. Because that gives information specific to the school. It gives information in terms of feedback about the initiatives that we're doing in the district. It gives an opportunity for there to be overall engagement. So that's one. Each of our schools also has an active parent association. And so I would definitely recommend connecting with our parent association at your school site. Our schools have LSDMCs as well. And so that is really the leadership group at the school site that is made up of individuals that are from the community as well as from the schools that are really working to move of the school forward. And so, or refine practices that are happening, or continue with the success that's already occurring. So I would say definitely engage with your school. We do have a parent liaison, a parent champion who meets with families, who has office hours with families, and you can find that information on our website. But that is another way to just get more information about how you get engaged. The other thing that I would recommend for all families is to really, if you've not done this already, follow us on whatever your social media site of choice is. We have presence on every site. I say this because we know that we are living in the age of social media, and families are generally on some platform. And so we put a lot of information out about the school district through those platforms. The last thing that I would say, along the lines of getting engaged, and this may not seem like engagement, but we also want to make sure that we are able to contact families. So please, if you've not received a message from CPS in the last week, please check in Power School to make sure that your telephone number is correct. Because that's really our primary way of being able to contact families. And if that information is not accurate, then we are not able to get to you. So there are a lot of different ways to get involved. We also have, of course, our Be Present initiative, where parents can volunteer to be a part of that as well. So there are a lot of opportunities for involvement, and we want you to be involved.
Since you mentioned a family survey, what type of questions does it ask, and how you use the results?
Yes, so the family survey is really specific to experiences at the school site. It's really about the relationships that are happening at school. You know, how safe do parents feel that schools are? What kind of interaction are they having with teachers at school buildings? How does your child get help if they need that help? So we are using an organization called Panorama. It's really a nationally normed survey, so it gives a lot of information about how we may compare to other schools that are like our schools, but it's also specific to the school environment. So because we are doing surveys with families, with staff, and with students, we're then able to look at what that feedback is across each of those groups as we're looking at feedback, and how we begin to do additional school improvement planning.
The next one's around snow days. It says, will the district be having snow days, or will, if it's bad weather, or will virtual school on those days you close?
Right. Thank you. So right now we do anticipate that if it's a day that would need to be a snow day, that would be a day that the district would be closed, and that students would not be engaged in information during that time. So we have on our website, we have put our snow day guidelines on the site. It is important to know that this year, unlike in previous years, if we have a snow day, if it's not safe for us to have students moving about to school, it's not safe for us to have our staff moving about either. So with the exception of our operations team, there will not be other staff that will be at school or in school environments during the snow days. So it's important that families really stay in touch in terms of making sure that their telephone number is accurate, that they're paying attention to what's happening on television in terms of information for closures if those come up, as well as making sure that they are aligned with the school district's website and with the school's website as well.
All right, this one is says, I go to work before my son goes to school. Do I have to be the one riding the bus to participate in the free ride along, or could his grandma go?
So as long as he has an adult that's with him, it's completely up to you who rides with him.
I saw CPS receive some grants, safety grants. How do you guys use these grants?
So we just received our second round of safety grants, and the grants are used specifically for safety as it relates to intercom systems or camera systems. And so we applied for the grants for the purpose of the camera systems, and we were actually awarded those grants. So we will be using those to upgrade the current systems that we have or install grants in locations where we did not have systems.
It says the next one's another transportation. Is there a possibility of athletic events ever being canceled due to transportation issues?
Ask the question one more time.
Is there a possibility of athletic events continuing to be canceled due to transportation issues?
Yeah, so we're continuing to have challenges with transportation. And so when it comes to athletic events, we've done everything possible to work with our athletic department as well as our transportation team and our contractors. We know how important it is for our students to have access to those events, and we don't want them to be canceled, but we do have to have drivers in order to have those. So I can't say absolutely no. I do know that there has been improvement with that since the beginning of the actual beginning of the school year, but it continues to be a work in progress.
How do we offer our students additional social, emotional, or mental health supports at the school?
So one of the ways that we do that, we have periods within schools for our social emotional learning activities. In our curriculum, across the curriculum, we have embedded in the curriculum social and emotional learning. That's a part of the curriculum, so that's something that's really important as well. And in many of our schools, there are also additional independent lessons that are done. Our school social workers support our social emotional work that's happening in schools, as well as each one of our schools has a mental health partner that also provides additional support, additional resources, additional feedback for families, and additional opportunities to engage around both social emotional learning and mental health. And I know that we are getting to the end of some of the questions, Mr. Sherwood. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I have one that's from a person, I believe, from one of our high schools, and it's probably a student saying, "What is the district's plan on scheduling fine art classes? I'm a student and I love music and art, but I'm not scheduled for those courses."
It is so funny that I get this question. I just finished a conversation with a group of teachers, and that was one of the questions that came up as well. And so I think that that's one for us to take into consideration and to conversation with our high schools, really look at the work that we're doing around master scheduling. From what I've seen, I'm a former master scheduler. I've done almost every job in the school district, so that makes it a really great thing, and master scheduling is one of those. And what I know from looking at our current schedules in many of our schools, there is really work that needs to be done in that space. So that will be one of the areas that we will be working on. Hopefully it's something that we can see a level of improvement in next school year, but it really will become a work in progress for us.
All right. That is our last question for the evening right now. Nothing on Facebook, nothing in the moderator panel. I'm not
Nothing
sure.
at all. We're at our last one, okay?
The last one.
Awesome. Well, thank you so very much for being on with us tonight. And more importantly, thank you for for giving us the opportunity to provide service to you and your child. There are a lot of options for school districts. You don't have to select Cincinnati Public Schools, but we are glad that you're here and we're glad that you have chosen us to really work with you and your family. If you have additional questions, please feel free to reach out to us. It's really easy to get to any of us in terms of how you're able to get information and get feedback. We have a very active social media platform across all platforms. So that becomes one way to make contact in terms of the messaging feature. We also have the option on our webpage. There is an email address that really reaches all of us. And so if you like to email, you can do that as well. And we also have an employee care and a customer care. So you can call in as well so that we can get your questions answered. So we appreciate you. We appreciate your time. We appreciate everything that you are doing, and we appreciate you being present tonight. So thank you so much. We will allow you to add we will allow you. I think I just got a message, Mr. Sherwood, that there's one more
There
question.
was one, and this was a reference to metal detectors being used, and I think it's in reference to the incident at Woodward. Said, why do our taxpayers' money pay for metal detectors if the school doesn't use them properly? What are we doing to make sure our kids are safe since the review shut down? As you know, I was on site and I do know that the main metal detectors were in use because they were going off when I went through the front doors when I was working that day. So that's something we could certainly discuss with the security team. But maybe we'll have to have more questions regarding metal detectors. But they were working when I was there that day.
And I think collectively, thank you, Mr. Sherwood. I think collectively that has been the case where we do see our metal detectors that are working. I go to schools all the time and have the opportunity to go through the metal detectors or watch as students are going through them as well. But again, those are only as effective and efficient as the individuals that are working with them to monitor what's happening through that process. I would like to add that in the Riverview, I think was that a question about Riverview,
It
Mr.
was
Sherwood?
in reference to
Yeah.
review.
So I think I would like to add there that as we shared in the statement that was provided from Riverview, the course of action that we took was based on a threat that was provided. It was not based on a weapon being at the school. And so there was not a weapon that was found at the school. There was a threat that was made. We followed up as we follow with our protocol through our CPD in terms of doing the follow-up at the school site. Out of an abundance of caution, we wanted to make certain that we were able to locate the students, and CPD was able to do that. And I should say the individuals and CPD was able to do that. So it was not necessarily an issue of metal detectors or not metal detectors, but we did want to make sure that we followed all of the procedures necessary under the direction of CPD.
That is the last question.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for being present. Enjoy the rest of your evening.